So I love this guy, and if you're a longtime Bills fan, you know his face for sure. And for those of you listening via Spotify, well, you can't see him, but you'll know his voice when he talks. The great Stevie Styles, Stevie Johnson, joining us now. What's up, my man?
Man, what's going on, boys? Good to be on with you again, brother.
I love having you on. You are doing a special event at Electric City in downtown Buffalo with Adam Schefter, a
Yeah.
big Bills Mafia event, man. Talk it up.
Yeah, it's the birth of the Mafia. It's something special, and I'm looking forward to getting that story out and everybody getting able to hear everybody's perspective on, this phenomenon that everyone's speaking about, but little did they know it was really supposed to be a hush hush thing, So yeah, I'm looking forward to, opening up this chapter and actually just presenting it to the world for everyone.
Fantastic tease. You didn't give too much away. Well done. You've learned well over the years in
Yeah,
pro
I've been
sports
in
and
it a
with
little
media.
bit.
Yeah, for sure, man. So I mean, very quickly, let's talk about the Mafia, man. I mean, obviously, you've had tons of exposure with them as a player, and then post career back in Buffalo, as much as you are doing so many things with kids and your books and all that stuff, man. Being the legend of the game and all of that. Talk about, because you've been around the league, obviously you've played for different teams, you've been in visiting cities, obviously. Talk about the Mafia, the level of fandom, and how it's unlike anything anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the loyalty. I would start off with is, how they've been around and supported each team every year. And that's just loyalty, and you can't really find that in many places because there also comes with that other side of it having like characters to, you know what I mean, to push that, to show the loyalty. And I was one of those characters in a sense. So the situations that I went through, it was an opportunity for that fan base to jump on and show that loyalty that they have. And not only have they done it with me, they've done it with opposing players through situations on the field like injuries and things like that. Not even only injuries, but difficult plays and having fun with Cincinnati Bengals when they helped us get into that playoff. So it just shows the loyalty and camaraderie of the Bills Mafia, man. That fandom is unbelievable. And not to mention, you know, in past, people was looking at Buffalo like, yeah, whatever, it's just out the way, But now everybody is, what I mean, on our wagon, which is cool, and we accept it, no problem, And it's just good to see now how things have changed.
And the cool thing, Stevie Johnson, I was talking to somebody the other day, and I don't know if it's a Buffalo thing, man, but I'm sure you've experienced it, man, like in your travels. I, like the person I was talking to, pretty much everywhere I go, I will bump into somebody that's got a Buffalo connection one way or the other. Either they're from Buffalo or they're cousins from Buffalo or they did work in Buffalo. Somehow it always comes back to the Queen City, man. It's crazy.
It always comes back to the Queen City. I love it. And just to add to that, is like I was doing a tour across the Caribbean, and it's like Buffalo is Bills Mafia all on the cruise on the island. They see it, and it's like love everywhere. It's something special. I'm playing balloon volleyball with some Bills Mafia in Aruba. So it's just special, man. It's a good community. It's good when you see that red, white, and blue.
That's super cool, man. So tell me what you've been up to for the fans. What's Stevie J been doing besides being a promoter and a Bill supporter, a Mafia supporter, and on the road doing all kinds of stuff. You're also a dad. So I mean, talk a little bit about everything you've been up to, man.
Yeah, man. So I've been locked in with Spectrum, giving my analysts on post game shows with my guys Kev and Andy. And I've also been locked in with TSN Sports. We got a podcast called Broken Table, and a great group of guys up north in Toronto. And but aside from the sports analyst world, I'm in the community always. I like I said earlier, I had to stop by YMCA earlier to making a visit and just keep that connection. Let the kids know that you can still be anything you dream. You know what I'm saying? You just got to put the work in, and I'm proof of it. So I continue to work with the community. Got my HBHF brand, always on emails. We setting up our youth event right now in San Diego, our new chapter, connected with the Strike Force, San Diego Strike Force Arena Football. it's just continuous, and that's the main three things: family, the football, and being in the community. And that's what I've been doing, just handling biz, having fun, and repeating that process.
Awesome, man. So there was, and you mentioned Toronto. So have you been through your Toronto connections? Have you been in touch with Vince Carter and Josie Altidore and that Toronto group that sort of bought into that Bills, that small minority portion of the team? Have you been in touch with any of those guys?
No, I haven't been in touch with any of them. I have heard from friends that's acquaintances in that circle, and it's one of those support. It's one of those support things where they're bridging that gap, and trying to make it even stronger. When I was playing, it was the Toronto Bills series, and I thought it was pretty cool, But at the same time, that was something new, And now with how things have evolved and with the popularity that the Buffalo Bills have, and why not utilize that Toronto Raptor connection and build a stronger North? And I'm happy to have that merge, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they can create and continue to create as the new stadium come here, and provide more for this community, things to do.
Stadium looks pretty awesome. I know you've watched it progress as it has to this point. It looks great. I know I read somewhere, I think yesterday, the day before, they're already working on putting the field in because it's a grass field. Like, how cool is that? I mean, it's finally getting to that point. It's going to be bittersweet. Obviously, you played your entire Bills career in the Ralph, or whatever you want to call it, whatever name you want to call that stadium, and there's so much history there. But going into this new, it's amazing. You drive, Southwestern Boulevard towards the stadium, and you can now see it on the horizon, and it looks so dope, man. It is. I'm more excited than I've ever been about it, just because it's really starting to look kind of what it's going to look like. So I'm pumped for it. I want to fast forward now to the draft. So obviously there were some Kentucky cats, pun intended, drafted, including the first one, Maxwell Hairston. Have you personally, did the Bills talk to you about reaching out to the Kentucky guys and saying, "Hey, man, what's up? I'm one of you." I mean, have you reached out to Maxwell or Dion or any, those two guys?
No, no, not personally, but before seasons, like before their college season, you always have a little presence, and showing that support that, hey, you're on your way, but you're really speaking as a collective team, though. You don't really know who's going to go where at the times, but when you see it happen, and it's like you're aligned in that group from Kentucky to Buffalo, and you see the stardom that happens from those guys from those schools. And I think it's pretty cool that Bean is able to see that, and that Buffalo Bills staff is able to see the grit, and they're matching the grit with those players that's in the situations of a Buffalo player, trying to start from the bottom and grind and persevere and blue collar and, prove people wrong. That's the same thing with Kentucky. They're trying to prove people wrong. We're a football, we're this and that, and, we're able. And you draft that guy, and it's got the same mentality. You put them with other guys, and you see what's happening. The elevation is happening 5 years straight. AFC championships, AFC East champions. Always that one game versus those guys in their red uniform. But what did we do? We got smarter. We got smarter, seeing what dominated the Chiefs, and now we went loaded up on that D line and that defense. So I really love the vision of what the business suits are doing now.
One of the things, Stevie Johnson, that was sort of a firestorm was the radio guys, and Brandon Bean had it out the other day, and Brandon kind of was talking about, like, why are you guys always complaining about the wide receivers? We don't draft wide receivers, and why you always this, that, and the other thing. And it got kind of crazy, but I think, obviously you're biased because you're one of them, but you are also testament to the fact that you don't have to draft a guy in the first or second round to find a good one. You were a 7th round pick, man, and you had 3 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons, and you weren't playing with Josh Allen. So, I mean, there you can find, and Brandon Bean, by the way, has been famous at finding super good players late in the draft, right?
Indeed. And not to mention what happened last year. We picked up an Amari Cooper in the middle of the season, and we seen what that did. And we didn't think about him joining our team from week 1 through whatever, so it really doesn't. And then let's speak on our first round draft, our second round draft pick last year. He did excellent, but did it get us over the hump and when we needed to. No, it didn't. But he's definitely a piece that can be solid for the future. We don't need to even have the conversation on what we didn't get. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about what we got and how we're trying to, dominate what may be our future when we face this quote unquote Chiefs. I'm just gonna say the Chiefs because we've seen that the last 5 years. I'm not saying who knows who's going to evolve this year to be in that race, but I'm just speaking from the past and from history. And we've definitely evolved, and I think that's where being is. Like, we've seen what we've done with when we draft these guys. Not to mention going DB route though, and that's something that's pretty special. I think that should have been spoke about other than a wide receiver because we got Josh Allen back there. We got, what I'm saying? We got a talented offensive line and some studs up front. So I don't see any issue with not drafting a wide receiver.
Yeah, I was going to say he's not wrong. Like, the Bills average 30 points a game. I mean, if you average 30 points a game for the season, you should win 15 games every year, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's really nothing much to talk about, but I mean, I think it's cool that it did happen though, and I think a lot of people can respect it, and that's one thing about the Mafia. Even WGR, they not go complain and cry about it. Hey, he was doing. We understand it. We understand it. You understand we got to do business and we got to get our, views up, and it is what it is. And that's what's special about the Mafia. We go keep it internal, but it's still family. We getting our message out and we showing that attitude.
Yeah, and I think too, people were like, I can't believe Brandon Beane used the, language he used and this, that, and that. And I'm like, you know what, man? I think that talks about his relationship with those guys and with the Mafia. Like, you would tell your best pal that he was full of S if you were talking about something, right? You would do that, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of he called him out like he would a buddy of his, in my opinion. And for that reason, I don't think it was terrible. I think having passion about it on either side is great. To your point, you're like, this is great, man. Mafia loves it, and they're concerned, obviously. Let's have that dialogue, regardless of how heated or not it is. I thought it was great. I don't feel bad for anybody on either side. I don't think anybody did anything wrong necessarily. It was just having a dialogue,
Exactly. And both did what they were supposed to do. If you don't draft the wide receiver early, of course you go get a question about it because these are the divas. These are the ones that you see making the highlight plays. And, the camera doesn't see the defensive line work and what's going on in the trenches as much. So they'll understand later, and that's basically what Bean is saying. We went for the flash earlier and, it didn't hit for us. Let's go for stronger together, and that's building that defensive unit.
Yeah, and I would say too, you have to have a little bit of faith in the guy who not only drafted Josh Allen, but put people around him to get the great out of him, right?
Absolutely. And well, that's one thing that I was thinking with Mac. I thought we would bring Mac back because I felt like he made pivotal adjustments for that receiving core to pace themselves, and run routes a certain way where you can help the other get open. I thought he was really good at that. I thought he was worth bringing back, but we didn't. We still brought in guys that's had experience in the league, like a Josh Palmer, but he just didn't have that star power. You know what I'm saying? Where he's the guy to look at, but he's got all the qualities to be that, and he's very healthy, no injuries. So that's something special to have on Josh's side, a tall receiver that can go out and get it. You don't, like I was talking about with people not being able to see on the trenches, the physicality, that's the same thing with the Josh Palmer. You don't really see what happens the first 5 to 10 yards, but once he gets down the field and running, all Josh has to do is let the ball go and he'll go get and make the rest happen. So I'm looking forward to this team and what they're building, not to mention Curtis Samuel with another season in with the offense. He's going to be a threat out the backfield and as a receiver. He persevered last year, I would say. So I applaud him and I'm looking forward to seeing more from him.
Yeah, I mean, to the Joe Brady offense, if everybody eats, sometimes you just can't have that one standout stud guy. You got to have a lot of good guys, right? In your mix. No disrespect to any of your quarterbacks when you played here, but what could you have done if Josh Allen were your quarterback?
I mean, I just think what me and Fitz did, it'll just be on another level. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Because one, the experience that I've gained and had with Fitzpatrick, and then to be able to play with Josh Allen, we already know what we can, you know what I mean, we can do, and we already seen what he can do. I mean, let's take it back to the play where he threw to Ty Johnson in the back of the end zone
Oh,
on 4th and 1. Was that against the Broncos, I believe?
ridiculous. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And it was off natural reaction, and his placement was where Ty Johnson wasn't even at the time, you know. So that was, you just think about that, you know, and with a guy like me who can get open on anybody, that's kind of why I like Mac Hollins in a sense. You know, he didn't have the wiggle and that shiftiness like I have, but he understood where to be when his quarterback needed to. So that's why I felt like, you know, Mac was a good receiver for us. And you know, I was hoping we brought him back, but you know, he's more evolved as a quarterback to teach these receivers on where to be, and not to mention his tight ends, you know, that he's with.
And by the way, nobody watching or listening to this thought Mac Hollins for a second was going to be as productive as he was as a receiver, right? He comes in, the guy's a great special teams guy, and you know, he'll be the fourth receiver and he'll contribute here and there. But that guy was a major component of the Bills offense. Again, credit Joe Brady, credit Brandon Beane, like credit knowing his ability and the chance to really exploit his talent. I mean, that's what they did. And he ended up being, I think, much better than people thought he was going to be, at least offensively, for this team. I got to ask you, and I'm sure you've seen and probably follow Mac on Instagram. Have you learned anything from any of his tips?
No, I haven't. I'm just waiting to see him on Alone. You know, I watched the show Alone, and
Love
I think
Alone.
I think he'd definitely be victorious on it because he's very useful. And yeah, just going back to it, I definitely knew he was going to be our guy. You know, when we picked him up, and I saw his film in Atlanta. I saw his film in Philly, and I was like, okay, yeah, he's been in the league for at least 5-6 years, so he understands where holes are, and he's got speed and he's got size. I didn't expect him to be able to teach this young crew like he did, and that was so cool seeing it because, you know, like everybody, like you were saying, people didn't really believe in Mac in the sense of, okay, just be the fourth receiver and go down on special teams and this and that. But what he did was he set the pace for those receivers. Week 1 through 3 or 4, things was kind of sporadic. You know what I mean? We did get some wins, but it was like people just running hard while Mac was trying to set a pace, you know what I mean? And get people open. And I think we saw that more as the season developed. And that's why I just tip my hat to his skill and his knowledge on the field. And it just transfers over into the real world with all those tips he got.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and that guy, I mean, you talk culture, a culture guy, right? Man, you just spoke to it, how much of a leader he was, how much everybody looked up to him, and he just brought sort of a calm, a chill, sort of a regularity to the room, you know. Yeah, he
Yeah,
is going to
we'll
be.
see how that work in New
I
England.
know, right?
You know, because now they got a different type of number one. Like here, it was cool for our number 4 or number 5 or number 6 person to step up and say, "Hey, this is how we go set it." But
Right.
there now you got to deal with that Diggs, that boy named Diggs, and you know he go set the tone. So we'll see how you fit in that offense. You know, and see if it's schemed up right with the right tools. And what we did on defense was, I mean, we beat it up with, I mean, Taron Johnson was like one of the number 1 DBs in the slot. Now you add Maxwell Harrison, you know, because I'm assuming, who do you think would be on the outside? Do you think Trey would play outside or inside or safety? We got Dane, we got Christian. I mean, obviously Christian would be out on one side.
Yeah.
Who do
I
you have?
mean,
Trey on the other side, or
I think Max, I mean, everything I've read, he could start day one. He's that
or Max?
good.
Okay.
And to be honest, I mean, I don't know. I don't talk to Trey. I don't know Trey, so I don't know where he's at. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
clearly the Bills had to go through the physicals with him, right? They had to make sure he could play. if they're going to bring him back. So I don't know what the Bills' expectations are for Trey. I mean, I would love. He's 30 years old. I don't know what a 30-year-old guy. I don't know what the window is for a DB in this league. Yeah, guys have done fantastically into their 30s at DB, but can he, after an Achilles and a knee injury, like super serious ones, be at the Pro Bowl level he was early in his career? I don't know. Like, it would be great if he was, but
Maybe,
if he can be a dime guy, awesome, right?
And then I guess that goes with Babbage's packages.
Yeah.
So that'll be like DB by committee. Now we can send those blitzes. We can send those, those kamikazes with the 4.2 speed of Maxwell and with the mentality of a Taron Johnson to play off or blitz. I think we got a lot of packages that we can have, not to mention with how we can shift and move around that not offensive line, but defensive line, with those athletes. And our young guys will get a lot of game, with that suspension that our two guys have to go through. So I feel like later on in the season, I can't wait till the schedule come out so I can really evaluate. But later on in the season, it's gonna be showtime on defense.
Oh man, I can't wait. I love Jamon Solomon. Like I really hope that guy gets some time, and I think he will. Then you get Landon Jackson coming in, who's a beast. I mean, him and Epinesa are basically the same size and type player. Then you got the big guys on the inside who are athletes. Even the kid from Kentucky that's 340, but can play any position on the D line. Like, that says a lot, man.
Yeah. Hey, you said Epinesa. Now, Epinesa did really well. I think he's done enough to earn himself a contract. Do you think he may be moved?
I think there's the possibility he could be moved. I mean, Russo's kind of in. He's not going anywhere. But that's the other thing. They have so much competition now on the D line, man, that there's going to be some really good players that somebody else is going to get, right, when cut day comes. So it's really hard to say. I don't know what Daquan Jones has left in his tank. It's going to be really interesting. But needless to say, the Bills are better. Like, they're better today for sure than they were this time, 4 months ago.
Yeah, I'm with you, Bull. I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that for sure.
Thursday, Electric City, downtown Buffalo, Stevie Johnson, Adam Schefter, talking the evolution of the Mafia.
Yes.
Check it out. Great to see you, my man. I hope to see you Thursday night, too.
Indeed. We got to get the picture together, man.
All right. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for doing this.
One love. Take care, family.
Be well, my man.
Yeah.